I'm gonna keep this whole thing short and simple because I'm telling you right now, I find this whole matter to be a joke. It is a joke. This whole thing derives from a Somali girl in her bathroom, always in a bati, showing everyone that her hair is actually her hair. And I always wondered why people cared about the length of her hair. What is with her audience caring about her hair so much? I delved deeper into her comments to find out that she's actually selling a product. It's ironic that I'm talking about hair when I have flyaways. Not trying to mess with anyone's bag, but why are you advertising towards the ADOS community? Why are you advertising towards the Black African American community? Your hair is in the type 3s, therefore there's no issue with you retaining hydration and moisture. Stop it! I have kinkier hair. I abide by different rules than my own community. A good example of the hair in my family is my little sister decided to get bangs the same time as her cousins. Their bangs grew out within 6 months. Her bangs stayed for 3 years. When you have kinkier, coilier hair, it is harder for you to retain moisture and hydration. Therefore, breakage is very common. So these are the people that she wants to advertise this to, stating that, hey, purchase this oil and your hair will be long, just like mine. Keep in mind, all hair types can grow. All hair types can touch your butt if you really wanted to. I might get a lot of shit for this, but keep in mind, seeing an East African girl with hair down to her butt is not fascinating. You see their beautiful hair, you say mashallah, you move on. But let's not create products and use our genetic advantage to make money.
So this woman made this video, and initially it seemed like it was coming from a good place, right? So she spoke about how Somalis tend to have a looser hair texture and how they're using that to prey on the ADOS community. Now, somebody get me together because I've been saying ADOS. She just said ADOS. I honestly don't know which it is because y'all come up with a new name for our ethnic group every single week. So I'm going to stick to the original. African Americans, those of us descended from transatlantic slavery in the United States of America, okay? So she's talking about how Somalis are trying to make money off of the ADOS community, basically, right? She's like, yeah, they're selling these products. Like, yeah, this is how my hair got so long, yada, yada, yada. When really that's not it at all. Like what it actually is they have a different hair texture than us. And it tends to experience less breakage because it's easier for it to retain moisture, okay? So again, she starts off making sense. You know, that's all good enough, right? But then she goes on to say, yeah, let's not use our genetic advantages to make money. What genetic advantage? What genetic advantage do you have over anybody? Like, I don't want to humble you, but baby, you're Somalian. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, huh? Like, please get me together, right? But what she's saying, her genetic advantage is her non-blackness. Because there's a reason their hair looks like that. They all mixed up with Arab. Now, this is my thing. Because clearly that genetic advantages comment was very shady. Now, that makes me think there's a reason she specified the ADOS community, right? Because let's be real, right? Black people have kinky hair, like pretty much, okay? So she could have talked about pretty much all black people, Central Africans, Western Africans, the ADOS community, Caribbeans, Southern Africans, whoever, right? Because we all pretty much got kinky hair. But no, she specified the ADOS community because I say this all the time. Everybody knows this, not just Africans, not just Caribbeans. It's not just a diaspora thing, right? Everybody knows that the group of black people to pick on is Black Americans. You can pick on us and pretty much get away with it, right? I've said this about non-black people too, because they have a tendency to be racist as hell, but they'll direct their racism specifically to Black Americans. And then other black people will be like, oh yeah, well, you know, Black Americans, you know, that's how Americans are, so and so and so. So it's like everybody knows that they can direct whatever nonsense they want to say towards Black Americans specifically, and nobody will bat an eye. Because I promise you, if this Somali woman had mentioned West Africans and said that she's genetically advantaged as opposed to them, there would have been a whole conversation about that, right? But since she targeted that towards ADOS people, it was just like, oh, okay. Like, huh? I have an example, actually. So maybe like 2 years ago, I was going to University of Michigan, and one thing I complained about is the fact that there was a Caribbean student union, an African student union, and a Black student union, right? But the Caribbean student union was just for Caribbeans. The African student union was just for Africans. But the Black Student Union was for everybody and their mama. It was not just for African Americans. So it was like everybody had their own specific student union, but Black Americans. Everybody was all up in our shit. That was something I complained about all the time, right? So anyway, the Black Student Union was sending out an email every week. Oh, what's happening this week? Yada, yada, yada. And all the African Student Union and Caribbean Student Union shit will be all in our newsletter. Like, bitch, we don't care about this, right? Put that in your newsletter. Like, I'm confused. But anyway, there was one week the African Student Union was having some talk, like, because mind you, I believe there was a separate East African Student Union. So there was an African Student Union, then an East African Student Union, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they sent out the Black Student Union newsletter, which again is full of African Student Union and Caribbean Student Union shit, right? And they talking about how they're having a, like a sit down, a talk. They're like, yeah, like, the West African students and the East African students is beefing and so and so and so, yada, yada, yada. So we gonna talk it out, right? There definitely was. There was an East African Student Association. That's what it was called, right? So anyway, they put together some event. Like I said, I forget the specifics of it because that was 2 years ago, right? But I specifically remember because I went and messaged they ass on Instagram, the East African Student Association or whatever it's called. And I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this thing because I'm not even African. And I recall when a Somalian called me a Bantu bitch. So let's go ahead and talk about this, right? They was like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry, so and so and so, right? But my point is this. If this Somalian woman had targeted this, superior genetics, whatever she said, right, towards other Africans, of course she would have got flamed by all them Africans and all this whatever. But again, Black Americans are the one group that you can target stupid shit to and nobody's going to say shit about, right? So she targeted us, even though we have the same hair type as West Africans, Central Africans, everybody else, right? Because again, she knows that basically we an easy target. We the one group of Black people you can say any old foul ass shit about and everybody's just going to be like, oh, okay. Nobody's going to stop to be like, maybe we should discuss this. Like, that's not okay. Nope, nothing. It was that little genetic advantage that she tried to slip in. Like, girl, because anybody who knows anything about Somalians knows what she's referring to. And she's sitting here, she made a whole video about hair textures, and she refers to the type of hair that they have as being a genetic advantage. First of all, let's get past the fact that she said that just because, that hair texture comes from the fact that Somalians are significantly mixed up. Let's get past the anti-Blackness aspect of it, right? Let's talk about the fact that what exactly genetic advantage is that? Like, what advantage is that giving you? Because the fact that Africa is hot as hell is the reason that Black people's hair grows up, because it's not very helpful for your hair to grow down and be on the back of your neck making it hot, right? So you literally are actually disadvantaged being from Africa. Like, there's a reason that Black people evolve and our hair grows up. Like, so what are you talking about? What are you talking? Even past the anti-Blackness, like when you look at it, clearly she's saying that because, that's not a Black hair type, right? What advantage is that conferring? That doesn't even make any sense. This is why I always say, though, it's dangerous to call mixed people Black. It really is. Whether the person is mixed over the first generation or if they're multi-generationally mixed. Because all of these concepts of colorism and hair texture discrimination, all of that is actually forms of racism. We just get confused because we call these people Black, right? When really they are not Black. And the reason they have lighter skin colors and looser hair textures is because they're not Black, right? But we call them Black, and then, they oppress actual Black people who have actual Black features like kinky hair and talk about how their non-Black features are genetic advantages, and all of us are confused because, again, we've been calling these people Black and pretending that their features are Black features, but they're not.